Well, good morning. I apologize for any quality issues with my voice because it's pretty early in the morning. I'm getting out here to trim my yard. Anyway, I got a Kobalt 40V lithium ion weed trimmer, and I want to talk to you about it. Some of the things I want to talk about, I have a gas trimmer before, Weed Eater brand gas trimmer, and the engine seized up after 4 years of using it. So I wanted to replace it, and I get a little tired of yanking my shoulder out all the time whenever I try to crank it. So I decided to try something different. I didn't want to go with an electrical cord because I have about 2/3 of an acre of land, and that's a lot of electrical cord and a lot of backtracking to actually keep plugging it in different places just to get around my yard. So I wanted to try something different, and I got this lithium-ion battery-powered weed trimmer. Now, I want to give something positive to say about this to start off. But I normally I have to start here because I can't actually mow right here on my yard because this is really steep, and naturally I'd hit this and fall over on my mower. But I usually start here. I have about 1,260 square feet of house on a single level, and I'm on a slope. I don't know if you can see that on the video or not. But I was able to trim all the way around the house, and this tree line right here, it has very thick weeds in it. Some of it further back, I don't care about those ones in the further back right there that are standing up. But all along the actual edge here where my mower can get to, it was able to handle all that. This is about 1,260 feet, I think, from down here all the way to the back corner of my property. So I was able to get around the house, all of that. Some right here, there's wonderful dandelions popping up everywhere, stupid weeds. Anyway, I didn't get that tree yet, and I'd started down here at the mailbox, and I got all the way about to right there, and the battery died. So that's the one negative thing about it. The one positive thing about it is that is able to handle actual hard brush. As you can tell, I live out in the country, so the 65 gauge wire was actually able to handle the thicker weeds we have out here than you normally see in other places. Some of the things I want to talk about it. This end right here, this head, is very heavy compared to a gas trimmer where all the weight is in the engine in the back, which is actually what I prefer. So there's some balancing issues where you're constantly having to use your hands as a fulcrum here on the handle to keep it level. This right here is supposed to help you edge, but I found that when you deploy it like that, the string will constantly hit it. And it doesn't matter. The string will always constantly hit it. I tried it, I don't know what the purpose of putting it halfway is when you're supposed to put it that way, but yeah. But it was able to edge. I just, flipped it over and used it and was able to edge on the front sidewalk, so that was pretty good. Like I said, the end back here is pretty light because all it is just an empty hole for this battery. The battery has a LED indicator here. It's kind of hard. You have to push down really hard on this button to get these lights to come on. You probably can't see those lights. It's hard to see during the daytime. It's very easy to load if you figure it out. You just boom, you're done, and you just unlock it. You have an unlock here, and you have this, and you're good to go. So it's very fast to load up and get going. If I could make a suggestion to Kobalt, I know it's hardly unlikely they'll see this. They make a 20-inch mower that has 2 batteries in it. To address the weight issue and the time it takes to go around and not running out of charge, why not add 2 batteries back here and have it so that the weight is more evenly distributed and it makes it a little bit easier to handle. So as far as the actual trimmer goes, I wouldn't recommend it for people like me that live out in the country, just simply because there's a lot you have to do, and you have more heavy-duty work. But for somebody, like if you have like less than half an acre, your land is flat, it's pretty well maintained, don't have a lot of trees and stuff around it, and you don't want a gas trimmer, I recommend you get one of these. I could easily see it working, you know, in the suburban areas, but not so much out here in the country. So I'm probably going to clean it off, take it back to Lowe's, and see if I can exchange it or, you know, get a gas trimmer. There's one thing I do want to talk about this. Compared, Black & Decker also makes a 40 volt, and I picked both of them up at the store to see what they felt like. And the Black & Decker was also heavy on the front end versus the back end. And Black & Decker had a little bit thicker rubber trigger on it, which I actually liked. They also had all these fancy features. They had an LED indicator. But as you know, if you have an LED indicator on your battery charge up here, it's actually sucking down the battery. So I'm not sure it's a good thing. They also have a variable speed adjuster or variable power adjuster for your thumb. I mean, this one you just, you know, hold it a little bit less and it slows down. So I don't know how good that variable speed adjuster thing is, or how useful it actually is. But I wanted to make this video because every time I looked up the Kobalt 40 volt trimmer, it was all Kobalt videos, or people that were taken to a demo in Florida where they had like a little 4-foot by 6-foot box of weeds, and they were all like the same height already. And so it was like a little, you know, less than a 100-foot plot of land that they were all testing all this equipment on. So I wanted to show people, you know, what, you know, a real world out in the country scenario is. And if you have to ask the question, how do you know if you live out in the country? If you see more green than gray and deer run through your yard every now and then, you live out in the country. If you don't, your land is flat and you have another house less than 50 feet away from you, you do not live out in the country, okay? So you might want to, you know, consider getting one of these for that type of area. But for country areas, I'd probably recommend you stick with gas. I could see this in, I don't know, maybe 10 years, because they started out with 18 volts and went to 20 volts and now 40 volts. And I was able to do a lot with 40 volts. So I can imagine 80 volt or higher, these trimmers would actually be pretty good out in the country, someplace like me. So anyway, that's my review of the Kobalt 40 volt weed trimmer.